You are now listening to Little Sparks, Big Hope, an EmberHope podcast. Good morning, everyone, and we are so excited to be back for our penultimate, I've been so excited to use that word, penultimate episode of Little Sparks, Big Hope. As always, I am one of your hosts, Autumn Herder. And who else do we have on the mic today, ladies?
We've got Britt English here.
And Nikki Hayes.
Okay, and we are bringing on a very, very special guest. We are so excited to have him in the studio today. Tyler, welcome.
How you doing?
Good. We are so excited to have you. Can you tell us just a quick overview, just your name and kind of what your role is here? You have a really unique role at EmberHope.
So my name's Tyler Swalley. I am the principal at Opportunity Academy on the EmberHope Youthville campus in Newton, Kansas. I'm also an adoptive foster parent and a currently respite foster parent.
Oh, that is so cool. Now, before we dive into the interview, we like to ask everybody a connecting question, which is one of our TBRI practices that we, try to use parallel practice, as Warren calls it. And because of it's back to school, we're interviewing a principal. I thought this one was fun. And it says, if you could go back and give your high school self one piece of advice, what would it be? Who wants to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Okay. So if I could go back and give myself one piece of advice, it would be, it's okay to be a weirdo. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to be too cool. I think I really struggled to fit in, and I tried really hard to fit in, and just tried to meet my peers where they were. And it was okay. I didn't have to do that. And I got to college, and I realized that there were plenty of other weirdos. I went to such a small 1A high school in central Kansas that I was really isolated to a very just set group of folks. And I didn't realize, I'm like, oh, it's okay to love fantasy novels and Lord of the Rings and anime and, My Chemical Romance and, it's okay but you can do that, but also like sports and also, so it's okay to have some duality. Like, you don't have to just fit into a box. So If I go back and give myself one piece of advice, it would be that.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
That was excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
We tell that to our kiddo all the time of let your freak flag fly and find your group of weirdos, which so far she's doing very well at.
And I feel like we found our group of weirdos already here on this
definitely.
podcast.
Definitely.
Yeah. We have a group of weirdos in development in this podcast. And so, yeah, it's like, if you haven't found your people in high school, it is A-okay, because there's a whole world out there of people who want you to just be your most authentic self.
Oh, definitely. Yes. I'm sure even like in OA, there's little niche groups of, you've got your little weird collection of friends and folks over there.
Yes.
I think my piece of advice to my high school self would be to be kinder to my parents. Maybe dial the sass back. That was a really good sigh, Tyler. I feel like I hit a nerve.
I won't say which of my children could take that advice right now.
I don't know. You just the one of mine. I'm like, God, I don't know which one that, would she take that advice? But we're fighting that battle right now. Like, do you want to maybe say that again? Do you want to try that a different way?
Yeah.
Do you need to roll your eyes with just the word yes?
Yeah. But, that's just a testament to, it's like,
it's a comfort thing. It's she's safe here. I felt very, very safe and comfortable with my parents. Could I have been kinder? Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of hindsight.
Yeah. I was like, you're playing adult eyes to a lived in teen situation. So
absolutely. The hormones are just wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about you, Tyler? Do you have anything?
I would say that, I think a lot of people go through life. It kind of is a little bit of what you said, Amber. All these other kids are concerned most about themselves. So live into who you are, and you will find your people. And that, you don't have to have all the answers right now. You're just, work one day at a time to just be your best self.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And I want to echo everything that you guys have said. I would agree on that piece of advice. I think also for me, if I could go back to my high school self and give myself some advice, I would say that it's okay to be vulnerable. And it's also okay not to just focus on being strong or being around or being helpful for everyone, because you also have to prioritize yourself. And unfortunately, in today's culture, nowadays, it's like, oh, I need to be perfect, or I need to fit this mold, or whatever it might be. No, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share kind of what's going on. You don't have to hide it behind the shadows or behind social media. And I think that's one thing that for me, looking back, if I would have been more vulnerable and shared more, I think it would have helped, because I was nice to everyone. I made sure to include everyone. But I think also at the end of the day, I wasn't prioritizing myself. And I think as kids, that's something that we don't really think about.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on. So it's just really interesting to go back and apply this adult lens to, teenage interactions and where we were as teenagers, which I'm sure, when you are at OA, so OA, Opportunity Academy, we're going to call it OA. And when you're at OA, I'm sure you kind of run into these types of coaching moments with kids probably all the time,
Yeah.
if I had to imagine.
Yes. So, we have about 60 kids at a time. They come from both the EmberHope PRTF. For those who don't know, it's a psychiatric residential treatment facility. So we have those girls that come from that, and then we have our Newton Public School students, and they can be ages or grades 7 through 12 from Newton Public Schools. So we get a wide range of kids of differences, and I think one of those things that kids are really concerned at times with what their peers think of them. At times that works to our benefit. It definitely helps some positive peer pressure of acting appropriately at school. We don't do that here, but then you also have the kids that are constantly looking for validation from their peers, and it's more about validation of self. And so we talk about, I try and speak pretty honestly with the kids, and so one of the things we talk about, I got it from my wife, which is like, you're the only person that you've got at the end of the day. People will always come and go from your life. We'd like to think that even, our parents will be around forever, but there'll be a day where they're not. And so how do we continue to move forward with our lives and be okay with who we see in the mirror? And so the conversation I have with kids a lot of times is, are you proud of this person, and what will make you proud of you when you look in the mirror? And so how do we get there? Because we're going to constantly have people that tear us down, that don't think highly of us. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to make everyone happy. And so how do we shift to that mindset that we're okay if someone doesn't think we're the best person?
Yeah. It's so funny. I actually had to have this conversation with my husband the other day, and, he's a 36-year-old man, and I had to look at him and I said, honey, if we would not accept their advice, why would we accept their criticism? If it's if it's not somebody that you look up to and think, oh, they're going to give me some stellar advice, then don't sit around and linger on their criticism.
Yeah. And I use something similar. It's, do you respect that person?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things the kids are like, well, I try and respect everyone. I understand that. Do you think highly of who they are as a person? Mm-hmm. Is that someone that you're really wanting to be in your life for the rest of your life? Well, no. Okay, so then why are we giving their opinion on you
so much power
over us? And so, we have that conversation quite a bit.
I bet.
Yeah.
So we'll backtrack just a little bit on the logistics of
Sure.
OA.
Yeah.
You said you have 60 kids roughly
at a time.
At a time.
So I think last year, we have 60 kids in the building on a regular basis, like enrolled, but with the turnover at the PRTF, we'll get more kids. So one kid leaves, discharges, then another kid comes in and takes their place. And then for our Newton Public Schools kids, as a kid graduates, another spot is opened up. So throughout the school year, we average somewhere between 100 and 120 kids a year. So we'll turn over almost the entire roster. Now, obviously, there are some that do not leave. They're with us all year, but yeah.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how many students are in each class?
So we have 6 classrooms, 10 kids per room. And then we have a teacher and then an aide. We call it an aide in Newton because they're general funded, but it would be like a para. And then we have a special education teacher and a para that also rotate room to room to support kids with any special education needs or just general needs in the classroom setting. So there's usually 2 people per room, adult per room for those 10 kids. So that's a high support area.
Now, I know when we have conversations as development and we're out and about and we're talking to the community about OA, a lot of people don't know that fact that there are just Newton kids who come to, just a part of the Newton School District. And so can you maybe share just a little bit about maybe who qualifies or kind of what that looks like?
So Newton Public Schools can send 7th through 12th grade kids to our building. We try and primarily make that 8th graders and only a select few. And then mostly we try and serve the high school population with an emphasis on catching kids that have maybe had some adverse event happen during their high school career. Or maybe the cards are just stacked against them. Maybe they're anxious. We get a wide range of kids that end up at OA for whatever reason. It's not because they're special education. It's not because they are a bad kid. We have kids that just don't do school. I've had some of the sweetest students come through. I had one young lady describe to me that she feels like she's a ghost. She's not seen. And if I were to, when I would observe her in our classrooms, and I can see who she was at the high school. And she was a kid that came in, talked to the teacher a little bit maybe, was very compliant, and probably just quietly failed in the corner. Never a behavior problem, never disrespectful, just probably didn't turn in her work and, but was very intelligent and just about the kindest kid. And her and her sister, she graduated last year and her sister's with us and will graduate this year. They are good kids. And it's not that anyone failed them necessarily. It's just they were not the focus. Oftentimes you'll get kids in a high school classroom. I taught at Newton High School for 5 years. And you get kids that are, the loud and obnoxious ones. Those tend to take more of the teacher's time. Or kids that are on an IEP, or kids that are willing to ask for help, right? But if you're going to quietly sit in the corner and never raise your hand and ask for help, and you act like you're completely competent when you're not, you get missed. And so it's not an indictment on any of those teachers there. It's just, making sure that we see those kids. And so for us, it's just trying to work through that and make sure that we capture all of the kids and provide them with the opportunity to get a high school diploma so that they have opportunities and doors open to them later in life.
Oh, that's great. And now those kids that do graduate, they walk with the other Newton, like in the Newton High School graduation, correct?
So they get a USD 373 diploma. They go in the program. They wear the same cap and gown. And there's no difference. You wouldn't necessarily know. We have kids that'll do like a dual enrollment. So they'll be at Newton High School, but they need to come to OA to finish up some of their cores. And one of the big differences at OA versus Newton High School is Newton High School requires 28 credits to graduate. We require the state minimum, which is 21. Most of those additional credits that are required at Newton High School are elective credits. So we still hit all the same core credits that Newton High School does. So math, science, English, social studies. So anything that's required by the state, we still hit. And Newton High School still hits. It's just they've got a few in and above that maybe hinder kids. from getting to that point. And so, but Newton High School has a ton of CTE courses and things like that are great for students. And so we'll get kids sometimes that they want to stay in the auto program or the welding program, but they've been really deficient in their English credits or their math credits. That's fine. They come over, they work on those with us, and then they go back over for welding. So they'll hit the required graduation number, and they're just graduating as a Newton Public School student.
And still get to engage in the Newton High School and
Yep,
all those
experience.
extra cool opportunities.
Yes, so they can play sports as long as they meet the CASHA requirements. They can go to dances. So they have to fill out an out-of-school guest form and be approved by me to go to the 2 homecoming dances, and then I chaperone prom. It's one of my favorite nights of the year, he said sarcastically.
I was going to say, I'm sensing a little bit of sarcasm there, Tyler.
Yeah, but you know what? My wife loves it, oddly enough.
Do you make her volunteer too?
No, she wants to come.
Oh, that's adorable.
She
She
likes to
wants
go
a
and
night
see
on the
the-
town, Tyler. Come on.
Oh, well, of course. But no, she just wants to go see all the pretty dresses and compliment the girls.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you guys just need to dress up, have her dress up in a dress too,
We
and
do.
go.
We do.
There you
Yes,
go.
so we go. We do it. Yeah, I it's the bane of my existence, but she likes it, so
Aw.
we do it.
What's your wife's name?
Jessica.
Jessica. I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, I'll probably have to share it out with her, right? But yes, no,
Yeah.
she loves prom, and so she makes it fun for me to go because
Aw.
it's
That's awesome. Well, when reading about OA, because even though I'm super familiar with OA, I was trying to come at it with eyes that
Yeah.
didn't know. And one of the things that's mentioned on the Newton School District website is it calls it trauma-informed personalized learning. And so what does that look like in practice?
Okay, so trauma-informed is being aware of and maybe keen to some of the kids come from difficult places. So your wording, your choice, how they might react to a situation is not typical of a normal student or a traditional student that everyone might kind of imagine in their head. There's a little bit more volatility in maybe their behavior. Things might set them off. Things might be difficult from day to day. They may have a therapy session the night before that really, has brought out a lot of negative stuff in their mind, and, they have to work through it. But they need a safe place to do it. And so to be aware of what it is that the behavior that's coming at you is really huge. And so kind of what we look at is behavior as a form of communication. So what is this kid trying to communicate to me? And one of the things we kind of started talking to him about is, all of your feelings that you're feeling are great. They're valid. It's okay. You can be upset. You can be these things. Not all of your actions are. And so how do we work through that with them? So there's a lot of conversation pieces. I'm not typically very punitive. My goal is not to suspend a kid from school. I cannot teach them how to behave better or educate them in the classroom if they're not in the building. And so what does that look like? And I have conversations with them of, okay, I understand you're upset or someone did something to you. You are still a part of a society, a greater society, that you have to follow rules. You have expectations. We can't haul off and punch everyone in the face, even if they deserve it. Because when you become 18 and you're an adult, people don't care about your trauma. It sounds harsh, right? So what I want them to understand is you're here, you're safe. We're going to work through this trauma with you. But at some point, there's going to be an accountability where the police officer on the street, your boss, they don't care. They're not going to care. There's going to be an expectation, right? And how do you work day to day within the societal expectations that are provided to you? And so how are we accountable to our actions, but also, how do we learn from them so we don't continue repeating the same mistake time after time after time? So it's a fine line, because there's a part of you that, you want to feel for the kid that's gone through something really difficult, and your heart breaks for them. But at the same time, if I allow them to continue the behavior time and time again, I'm not teaching them anything. So it's an approach of, I'm really trying to walk alongside them. So one of the things that we try and push or promote at OA is, your goals are our goals, and how can we walk alongside you to get to those goals? And so we try and really work through that. So that's the trauma-informed part, and being aware of that. And then our second part, I think you said it was the
Personalized learning.
Personalized learning. So personalized learning is, for us, we take an individual plan of study, so an IPS, from the state, and every kid grades 7 through 12 is required to do this. But what we try and do is we tailor their education to that need. So if we want to be, the kid grows up, or they're grown up and their goal is to be a mechanic, okay, this is our goal. So what classes can we enroll you in to help you get to that spot? Or if you want to be, a social worker or a therapist, what is it? Okay, you want to do that? How can we tailor your learning? So if a kid comes in and they say, well, why do I have to write this paper? I hate writing, it sucks. Well, on your IPS, it says that you want to be a therapist, and you want to, that's what you want to do. Well, you have to do your logs. You have to create, different things for billing. So you do need to write this paragraph, because we need to be a good writer.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so you want to be a mechanic. Okay. We probably don't need to write a 2-page paper if we're going to be a mechanic, but I'd like you to write out explaining what you did to someone's car, to the customer, as if you're telling it to them, so that your information, that what you're learning is functional.
Which, as someone who did work as a receptionist in a very small auto shop, the guys would have to write down what they did to customer cars, because when I would check out customers and explain what happened with their car, I have the notes from the mechanic that said, oh, this happened with an oil change, and they found this with the brakes, and et cetera. So yeah, good point.
Yeah, so we want to make it relevant to them. And so that's, I think, the big thing is personalizing that. And then, also going in and filling in gaps. So traditional high school settings will have a progression of like algebra, geometry, algebra 2. That'll be the normal progression, or biology, chemistry, physics. Okay, great. Like, that's totally fine for a traditional high school student. If I've got a kid that gets a 59.5 in algebra 1 as a freshman, and is also in biology and does okay, and then we move them to geometry, and all of those algebraic concepts move over with chemistry, that they just scored a 59.5, 60% in, they struggle in chemistry. And so how do I get them their math and science credits at a level that is appropriate for them? Also, if they want to be an auto mechanic, I really don't care if my auto mechanic knows Shakespeare or chemistry. I need him to know how to change my oil and do it well, right? I don't sit at Valvoline with the window down and talk to my auto mechanic about his theory of Shakespeare and what he, like, it's just not relevant. And so what we're looking for is creating relevant learning experiences for those kids. So we'll go back and we'll fill in those gaps with the algebra. I would much rather spend time having some baseline algebraic concepts and geometric concepts of how to find area. So when we're laying carpet in a room, we know how much we need. So that kind of stuff is more pertinent to some of the students. Our goal is to create functional students or individuals in society that, they can take care of their job and their family, and they're able to figure it out.
It is a really hard concept to get through to kids, of just like, why do I need to know algebra 2? I'm never going to use this, and I was the same way. And I'm like, why do I need to know the circumference around this random circle? What am I going to need with this ever in the future? Or what is a mole?
Yeah.
In chemistry.
Mole day.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And my kid's the same way.
Yeah. So, well, and like, why do I have to learn algebra? Okay. So, you're going to, my example with them, because it's relevant to my students, and not that they're doing it right now, but they will be doing it, is you're going to a bar, right? You have $40 in your wallet. You're going to spend $40 at the bar. It's a $5 cover charge. How many beverages can you purchase with the money?
Or
Right.
Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You walk into a comic store and you've
Yes.
got $40.
It's
What
y
happens?
equals mx plus b, right? How much can I spend on this,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like I've immediately made it relevant to them, because they really, what they're looking for is for me to be stumped and for me to not have an answer for them. And if I give them an answer, even that they're like, oh my God, I might actually use that.
Yeah.
They're like, so, and is that example perfect? No.
But it's relatable.
It's relatable for the clientele that I have.
It's tangible, but it's they don't have to work hard to visualize it.
Yeah.
And I worked so I was worked 5 years as an academic advisor at a community college, but I also have a master's of arts of teaching through K-State. I did the MAT program at K-State. And I was a student who was very bad at math. So I'm talking ACT score. I had a 30 on the reading section of the ACT. I had a 12 on the math. Okay. Like just, I had a lot of eggs in one basket. All right. And, but when I worked as an academic advisor, we, at the community college level, we had tech school tied into it. So we had stuff like, auto shop. We had, a like welding program and carpentry program and so on and so forth. And there were credits, like 10 of 12 credit hours of gen eds that kids have to take to also get that welding degree. And it was stuff like interpersonal communications, Comp 1, like they didn't have to do Comp 2, and so some of these basic concepts, but I would look at them the same thing. And I'm like, if you don't take interpersonal communications and you don't learn conflict resolution and you don't learn social cues and you don't learn, how to read people's body language and things like that, I was like, and you want to own your own body shop, you're going to have a really hard time navigating customers, because you can be the world's best auto mechanic. And if you still don't know how to do your own billing system, if you don't know how to navigate customers are going to come in, they're mad about their cars, and it might not even be about you. I mean, you come in with a busted water pump and that's going to cost $900. You're going to be mad no matter what. Yes. And so I would have that conversation with them, and you would just see this kind of light turn on, and I'm like, yes. And so I say all that to say is you have to find these practical application just scenarios for them to visualize, because education, was there probably some stuff in the interpersonal communication class that they'll never use? Yeah, I'm sure. But you have no idea what they're going to latch onto, or, what's going to stick with them. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember learning that. Yeah. And so that was what I always used to emphasize as well, just this importance of just being a well-rounded, educated individual, because you never know what life's going to throw at you.
Well, and I use this analogy a lot. I got it from a therapist. You don't build a house with just a hammer. You have lots of tools.
What?
You have lots of tools that go into building a house. So anything that you're taking in class is a tool. Maybe it's one that you use regularly. Maybe it's one that you pull out for special occasions, and maybe it rests in the back of the toolbox and you never use it. That's fine. Mm-hmm. It's a tool. Mm-hmm. And so we try and, equip them with as many tools as possible to be successful.
As a parent, I feel so validated with you using this metaphor of a toolbox, because I do this all the freaking time with my daughter, and she's like, okay, Mom, it's fine.
My kids will joke, I'm walking metaphor. I've got a metaphor, a sports reference, whatever it is, for a lot of things.
Well, I'm adding that analogy in my back pocket because I like that.
so good and it's so relevant because you can like visualize it. I'm like, do you need this in your toolbox all the time? No. Is it good to have on the random occasion that it's useful? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Exactly. And you never know sometimes when that stuff's going to occur, and you're like, oh my goodness.
My mom
that
was right.
I know.
It's like
No,
vinegar.
Yes. I was again, got a kid that could, say that more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not going to name names.
Yeah.
Well, you got what,
I've got 4.
4 to choose from. I've got the 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And it's great because I can look at it and be like, wow, it's almost like your mom was correct in figuring this out. Wild.
Yeah. So my child knows which one that child is.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, if your kiddos
They all
are
know
listening.
who I'm talking about.
So we're going to listen to this at dinner time is what I'm
Oh, it's tempting.
anticipating.
Yes.
Oh, see, that could be fun.
I want to be a fly on the wall to see that happen.
Well, to keep just on track here about OA, could you maybe, do you have like a memorable like success story or moment that you can kind of share in your tenure at OA? Of course, keeping it anonymous as possible.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of success stories, I feel like. Each one unique and important. We've had, so our building's been open 7 years. This will be year 8 that we are open. I did not look up the exact number, but I know we are well over 200 and probably 15 graduates.
Wow.
At this point through our 8 years of being open. And so to leave out, I've got several success stories where kids overcome so much. We have a individual, he was the first high school graduate in his family. And so that was really awesome. We've had a couple of kids that, they've overcome tremendous experiences, whether it be a kid from EmberHope who's overcome a lot and has, been in the foster care system their whole life, to kids that everyone wrote them off, as early as like 5th grade. They were never going to be successful or things like that. And they've all found a way. And I think our big thing at OA is the thing that I push is attendance. If you're not here, I can't help you. If you're not here, your teacher can't help you. We cannot affect any change in your life if you won't come around us. So be here. And I will go to people's doors and knock on their doors. You could bring kids on this podcast that would say, Mr. Swalley wouldn't stop knocking on my door or window. And I call parents and let them know I'm going to do it. But we try not to give up on any kid. Usually the kids that don't make it are kids that have given up on themselves.
Sure.
And I will try really hard to make sure that each kid has a chance. And, at a certain point it will, it'll run its course. But how can I've got all those kids are, all 200 and whatever it is. They've been a great success story. So.
Well, I love hearing that, and I can definitely hear the passion behind you just talking about it. So you've worked in a traditional school setting,
Yes.
and now you're in Operation Academy. Can you tell me the difference between how the youth are supported in the traditional school versus at Operation Academy? Because I know in a traditional school, there's like 40 plus kids in a classroom, and there's 10 in this classroom. So that specialized need and supporting them, what does that look like, and how do you see that helping the kids?
Yeah. So we have 2 adults in each classroom, and we notice with 60 kids in a building, you notice when someone's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I also collect cell phones at the start of the day.
Oh, wow.
And I label them.
Yes.
Yes. No phones. Phones are bad.
So even before this mandate that just rolled out, you were doing
Yeah.
that?
We've been doing it for 8 years.
Wow.
Part of it was to protect the privacy of the girls that were in the PRTF and
Sure.
in foster care that didn't have a phone. And the other part is it's just a giant distraction.
Absolutely it is.
Our internet is also on our Chromebooks locked down. The only thing they can access is Edgenuity, which is our educational platform, and our diagnostic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't access Google. they're not Googling answers successfully. Like,
They're not using chat.
no chat bots, nothing.
And hopefully that minimizes the bullying in the school too, because they don't have access to social media maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it happens after school,
Sure.
or just out and out blatant, like some of our kids don't have a filter. But, I think for us, it's, 60 kids. I get to know the kids really well. They're in one classroom all day. So they're assigned, if you look back to like maybe your elementary school setting, you're assigned to that teacher all day. Our teachers get to know them really quickly, really well. Whereas, and it's not to the detriment of it's not the high school's fault, but you're looking at, they're on a block schedule and they're with the teacher an hour and a half every other day. In 2 weeks at our building, we've probably seen that kid as much as that teacher will see the kid in a quarter. And so we've already gotten to know them really well, really quickly. And the teachers have less kids to get to know. So when a new kid comes in or a handful of new kids come in, that they make it their priority. And once we figure it out and we kind of show them our structure and everything, it's really easy to get to know that kid, okay, hey, I'm seeing they're shaking. Their legs really bouncing. Something's wrong. Like you can pick up on that because, in a traditional classroom with 25 to 30, 40 kids, you don't get to observe that closely.
Well, and like what a beautiful opportunity for those students too, because they're being, yes, watched very closely, but they're also learning so much about themselves with that too, of just like, oh, I didn't even realize that this was causing me anxiety, but you did. So now I'm learning how to like figure that out and how to cope with that moving forward.
Yes. And, they have one or two advocates. So those two adults in their room become two people that are in their corner. And so it is, they get to know that adult really well as well. And, if a kid comes in as a sophomore and doesn't graduate their sophomore year, because it's pretty unlikely, very unlikely, then they'll be back with that same teacher the next year as well. But there's a lot of growth that happens. There's also a lot of reconfiguring that happens. They kind of figure out where they land. One of the one of the sayings in schools is, most administrators spend 80 or 90% of their time with 10% of their students because those kids are really sucking up a lot of time. Same concept applies in my building, but the kids that were struggling at Newton High School come over to our building and they still reshuffle in that idea. So I still spend a lot of time with a handful of kids, but it's only a handful. And the other, 40, 45, 50, they settle down and they feel comfortable. And so, and they feel seen, they feel connected. So that's our big goal, is to make sure they feel connected to the building and to adults. I don't care if it's me that they like, they can hate me. I need it to be, they got to like someone. Yeah. Please, just one person on my staff, like connect with somebody.
Well, so speaking of your staff, I know we are just a few weeks away from school starting. Is there anything, that you're really looking forward to here as we enter year 8? Is there just anything that you're just really stoked for this coming school year?
So my staff first is just terrific. They're amazing. We have a new teacher coming in, so I'm excited to see how he fits in. He's come from an alternative school background as well, so I think he'll be just fine. But I would say I'm most excited to see where we can go next with some of our things. Each year we kind of fine-tune some things, improve some things. So I've gone through some training this summer and seeing how we can kind of implement that. It's about behavioral academies and kind of identifying what the behavior is with the student and then tailoring a specific set of lessons to them to kind of educate them on how to better, stay on task or be respectful or, interact with, peers appropriately. So like whatever it is. So I think we're going to start dipping our toe into that a little bit and see if we can't address behaviors more at a kid-to-kid level instead of the one-size-fits-all approach. So.
That's great. Yeah, especially with just how you've put such an emphasis on individual education, and now you can put more of an emphasis on just individualized behavior, rerouting some of that. So that'll go hand in hand really well. So excited to hear more about that later this year.
We'll build it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I got the training this summer, but none of my teachers have. So it's something that like I don't force a rollout. I definitely want it to be everyone's on the same page, and I want it to be organic. I believe that, I have some school building wide rules, like we collect cell phones, but then some of the day-to-day stuff of what happens in a teacher's classroom and how they run it, I give them that autonomy. Because if it's a mandate from me, it's going to come off as a mandate from the teacher. And if the teacher doesn't believe in what I'm asking him to do, the kids aren't going to believe in what the teacher's asking them to do. So it's kind of one of those things, like, how can we be authentic? Because I think that's one thing that all of our students are going to sniff out real quick is, who's feeding me a line of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, that's why some of my anecdotes or my metaphors that I share with them are, at a certain level, because I want to be authentic to them, and I want them to actually connect with the material. There's the idea that I'm sharing.
Yeah. No, we're all about being just realistic and just meeting folks where they are, on this podcast. That's definitely what we're all about, because transparency is so huge in child welfare, in education, anything dealing with kiddos. We have to meet kids where they are. And so we have to meet our peers where they are as well.
Well, and, one of the things that sometimes happens in education, in any building, or even as adults, we forget, and I mean, I'm definitely guilty of this as well at times, but we forget that kids are kids. Mm-hmm. And we often expect more grace for ourselves or for other adults than we do for children. And so remembering that they're kids and they have less tools in their toolbox to cope with the situation, and remembering that kids are really resilient and they can work through it, but we have to walk alongside them to do that.
Well, is there any message that you want to just share with students or families here as we go into this next school year?
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting all the kids back, teachers back. We love when families support us, making sure they get their kids to school. Again, that attendance piece has been huge, in my opinion. There's posters all around our building of, if you come to school, graduation will happen, and what that will take. And so making sure that you just trust our process. And if you do, we're going to make sure you get there. We'll move mountains for you as long as you're doing the work.
Absolutely. Now, just to kind of shift just a little bit,
Sure.
I know at the start of the podcast, you mentioned being an adoptive parent, foster parent, respite parent. We've not had a whole lot of conversations yet on this podcast, particularly about the respite piece.
Yeah.
And so we'd love if you could just kind of share, first of all, maybe just a quick, brief reminder to folks what respite care is,
Okay.
and then just what some of those experiences are like for you.
Okay, so when you become a licensed foster parent, you can sign up for different things. So the teams that come out and train you, and then the workers that are assigned to you, are very aware of whatever your needs or boundaries are, which is really, truly helpful. So if a kid has a certain behavior, that really concerns someone, those kids won't be referred to you. But for respite, what we look at is it's like a brief break for the parent. So we this summer had respite for a little boy who's 2 years old. Foster mom had a vacation planned with some family, was not able to take him. She did take her 6-month-old, but we received a call from a worker, my wife did, and the worker kind of explained, okay, this is the child, this is their needs that they have to be aware of. So the little boy was autistic and had had AFOs for his feet. I don't know what that acronym stands for, but they're the plastic things that go around and try and straighten out your feet.
Oh, okay.
Because he has club feet.
Gotcha.
So he doesn't walk. And so working with him. So this is kind of his needs, and then what to expect. And so once the worker kind of gave us the dates, we said, okay, yeah, we can take him. The foster mom dropped him off. He was with us for the week. And then the foster mom picked him back up. During that time, so when you're a foster parent, you get paid a daily rate for your child. We got paid that daily rate as well, just to offset any costs for that. But, you know, he just is a part of the family for the week. He came, hung out with us. You know, the kids help out with him. So I've got a 18, 16, 14, and 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old. She'll be 5 on Sunday. And so it's fun for them to get back because my oldest 3 are adopted from foster care. And so we look at it as a service. You know, whether you're really religious or you're not, we all have gifts, ways we can provide and give back to our community around us. And that's something that specifically my wife was very passionate about when I first met her. She let me know, you know, on the first date, like, I want to be an adoptive parent. I want to help out children. That is my passion. That is what I love. And so very aware from the very get-go, this is what we were going to do. And, you know, it's fun because you meet new kids and you get to be a blessing to them. And even for a short while, right? And so that was really fun. And, you know, we've set different kind of boundaries. So my wife and I are both in education. We have to say no to kids that don't have daycare. Sure. Because we can't take off work to provide that daycare, right? Which is totally fine. Or we have to, we have to get in contact with DCF, and I fill out paperwork, and we have to get funds for a week to find daycare. So if you have like an in-home friend that does it, like we found someone has an in-home daycare that can take a kid for a week at a time, and then we pay her with the DCF funds later. But it's just a way to help people out. One of our other respites that we did earlier this year, she's in a kinship placement. So a kinship placement is she's placed with someone that's either family or someone that she knows. But she's placed with her next of kin, and while she was in his care, he began having heart problems. So we took, a little girl for a week while he could go down to Oklahoma City and get heart work because he may need a heart transplant at some point. So how do we, it's a way, we're not only helping this little kid, but we're helping this family.
It's creating a village, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think so many times we forget that in our society today. We go into our houses, we shut our doors, and we ignore the problems around us. And it does take a village to support people and help out.
I've said this a lot over the years during my own foster journey and my own adoption journey, is it does take a village to raise a child, but it takes a community to raise foster kids.
Yeah.
Because you do lean on so many different facets and so many different organizations or different businesses or different resources or church groups that it's not just your immediate family and your neighbors. It's this huge pool that just comes together to help this one kid. And it sounds like you're a pretty large pool for several kids.
We're trying to be, I think it's something that, anyone can do. Do respite for a weekend or a week here or there, and be supportive of the people that are doing it day in and day out. And maybe they need, an anniversary trip so that they're okay, or they got it. We did it a couple summers ago for a gal that was just moving her son. And she's like, the kid's attached to my hip and I got to help my son move. Like, I love this child. I'm going to adopt this child, but I need a weekend to help my kid move. Great. We'll take her.
Gosh, even, I'm a biological parent, and my 3-year-old daughter is there. Just sometimes I'm like, I need you to go to your aunt's house for like
or
3 hours, because if
grandparents,
anybody keeps making noise, I will cry.
Right. It's the same. It's the same thing that I use my in-laws for, like,
Sure.
hey, we're just going to drop them off for an evening or,
Yeah.
and so it's the same concept. It's just people that are basically certified to take care of your kid, because you don't always have a friend. We do respite as well for one of my wife's best friends. She's a single woman who's a foster parent to a kid. And so her family lives in Oklahoma. They're wonderful people. We spend a lot of time with them, but she's a single woman working 2 jobs, and, she's works in a school and is a therapist outside of it. And sometimes she needs someone to swing by and pick up her kid, or,
we all do.
he got booted out of daycare, and,
Snap.
so it's like he got booted out of daycare. So this summer on Tuesdays, he came with us for a little bit so that, she could work her job as a therapist. So no problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's just being there for somebody who needs it, and then being respite. You're a licensed foster parent, so you do still have that trauma informed care. That element to it, to be able to take on kids who have higher acuity needs, or so that way you're taking them into just another safe home.
Yes.
Where they can feel acclimated and comfortable.
Yep.
To be themselves, where they might not feel that way, and somebody who doesn't have that same level of training.
Yes.
So, and because I think that's one common misconception that folks have is respite care is it's as you're available.
Yes.
Because obviously as teachers, you guys have a pretty set schedule of when you guys can be available.
Yeah.
And so that's really great for folks to understand.
So the young man that came and stayed with us that had the AFOs, while we were on vacation, we were actually driving back. I think we were in Mississippi eating dinner when my wife got a call from his foster mom. She had to take her 6-month-old foster baby to the hospital because the baby had developed both pneumonia and MRSA, and is now life flighted to KC. Like, this little baby is going through it. And this foster mom is doing everything that you would expect. She had already taken her into the hospital multiple times, misdiagnosed on the first one, so was sent home, and it got worse. And then people started discovering. So, this little baby's on life support, and she picks up the phone and calls us, and we're like, hey, we're in Mississippi. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll pick him up from daycare. So we got back from Mississippi at like 2 p.m., Arkansas. We had come back from, I don't know. We were on family vacation.
Not in Kansas.
Yeah.
We were not in Kansas at the time. So we came back, unloaded the car, drove down to his daycare, picked him up, and took him while she was trying to sort out all of this stuff, take care of the 6-month-old that needs her. He'll come back to our house this weekend. So on Friday at 5, I'll go pick him up from daycare. He'll be with us for the weekend for my daughter's birthdays, and we'll hang out. I mean, and it's just, I don't know. It's people helping people. It's having empathy and understanding, remembering that we're all human. I think oftentimes we, in our society with our social media, we're polarized. We're, you have different things, and we forget that there's someone behind that screen feeling that stuff, that needs support, that needs to have their voice heard, whatever it is. And just remembering that we're all humans, and, it takes a community, it takes a village. We've got to make sure that we take care of, these children. They're our future. They're what's paying your Social Security or whatever. Like, we gotta take care of them, because they're going to either add to or take away from our society. And so if we can invest in them to add to our society, I think we all benefit.
I agree with that sentiment. And I also think what you are doing, you're also building that foundation for our youth, for when they get older, they're going to say, oh, okay, so somebody did this for me. Maybe this is something I want to do, and lead by example. So you're building that foundation for our youth as well, even though we might not see it right away. We are.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've got pictures of my kids on my desk. I will have kids that come in that are specifically in the foster care system, huge chip on their shoulder. They see me. I'm a well-dressed white man. I come from Kansas City. I went to Blue Valley schools. Like, I come from privilege. I'm well aware. And so immediately there's this distrust of me. Like, you're just another principal. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't do it. And, my kids are not white. And they will look at the family photo of my blonde wife, and me, and they're like, how'd that happen? Right? And I'm like, you go ahead.
Well,
genetics.
I said, I'll just let you sit with that for a little bit. You'll figure it out. And they'll just kind of stare at me for a little bit, and the light bulb will come on. And there's a bit of instant buy-in that I get with that of like, oh, okay. And it's like, no, I have the same expectations that I have for my children, right? I'm expecting of you. And I want, I care about them. I care about you. I want you to be successful. And I'm not just some dude that's coming here to collect a paycheck and feel good about himself. It's like, no, I care because we can make a difference, and you are worth it. But making sure that they're, supported and know that I care. And
you personally are destigmatizing that. So I want to thank you for that.
Trying. Thanks to my wife. She's a big coach in my life.
Yo, Jessica.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's a sweetie. Yeah. Which I actually met you and Jessica both 8 years ago.
Yes.
I can't believe it's already been that long.
I know.
Back when I worked at the college, at Cali College, and we came up to do the to paint OA before it opened.
Yes.
And so there's a picture of me on a ladder barefoot because I refuse to wear shoes most of the time. And I'm covered in blue paint, painting one of the rooms in Opportunity Academy. And I remember sitting there talking to you and your wife. And I've not told you this story, I don't think. But I remember standing in there and I was like, I really feel like I need to be a part of whatever's going on here. And I had this and I'm even getting goosebumps thinking about it now, but it was like this very visceral feeling that I was like, I have to do something here. Yeah. And going into OA was actually what inspired me to go on and do the MAT program at K-State.
Oh, wow.
And the Masters of Arts of Teaching program. And then my student teaching happened during COVID. And so I never went on and took the licensure test or anything because I didn't want my first teaching career or, my first teaching was to be during COVID.
Yeah.
And so I kind of shifted and I went over to marketing, which was what all my undergrad stuff was in. And I just wanted to engage, and I did writing and I worked from home and so on and so forth, and then had my daughter. And so there was this really full circle moment when this marketing director position came open at EmberHope, but it all started with standing in OA and painting that classroom.
That's
and
so
there
cool.
was this huge call to my heart. And like I said, I just get very emotional just remembering. I can remember it clear as day, the feeling, and I'm getting it again. And it all started with OA. And so OA is honestly the reason that I'm here at EmberHope.
That's awesome.
If you go back and you trace it back. But yeah, so OA is so huge. It's been this weirdly huge element of my life, and you would never probably expect that from me because I wasn't a student or anything. But OA is really changing lives. You and your wife are just really such incredible people. I've met a couple of your kiddos, and just sweet kiddos. And so just thank you so much for everything you guys are doing, your family's doing, OA is doing. I mean, it's truly incredible work. And I know it's not always visible work because obviously, we just can't always shout from the rooftops what's going on because just of the nature of child welfare and privacy laws and whatnot. But thank you from the bottom of our hearts for just everything that's going on.
Thank you guys. And, all the work you do, it's important. And helping kids is important. So whatever way you can, I think is, contribute where your gifts are.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I guess our final sentiment for you, Tyler, is we just give everybody the chance just to close out. If there's anything else you wanted to share about OA or about fostering or
how to get involved.
Anything like that. The floor is 100% yours.
Well, I would say, if you want to get involved, pick up the phone and ask. I've never felt pressured with any of the things that we do. There's never a pressure to do respite. There's never a pressure to do any of these things. It's just you get to choose. Our house is not handicap accessible, so we don't take kids that are in wheelchairs because I can't pick up a kid every day, right? But so you can set your boundaries of how you want to help, and you can give in many ways. Local churches do school supply drives. There are, cash donations you can make. There's, you can call in, the angel trees are huge. You can call in and just see, there's many ways to support this system. And I think that's kind of the idea. It's just find a way to support people, in whatever way you feel comfortable. Because there's some that, obviously they're in the trenches, they're doing it every day. They're fostering. There's the emergency respite placements, things like that. There's all kinds of people that are contributing, and everyone can. And I think we have to remember that this is, even if it's not you, it is our burden. We must all take this on. To support these children, because they are our future. They are going to be a part of our society in one way or another. And so how can we support them in their successes? It's one thing to really campaign for, certain things to happen in our politics, right? But there's things that still happen at, once that child's born, it still happens. We still have to take care of them. And it's not the kid's fault that they're in the situation that they're in. And so how can we be compassionate and supportive in that, and help them get out of it, right? How are we going to help break the cycle? And so I think that's important, to do our part.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, and that just circles right back to what we talked about. It takes a village. It takes a community. And our current campaign slogan is right now, will you be the one? And, will you be the one who volunteers, who donates, who fosters, who adopts, who shops for back to school supplies? We talk a lot, almost ad nauseum, about how it doesn't matter. Everybody can get involved in some way, shape or form. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to be a full-time foster parent to make a difference. And that's quite clear with what's going on just not only in your life, but over at Opportunity Academy as well.
Well, and, to be alongside a journey and help out, right? Just, every journey starts with a step. And so, what one step, or one drop in the bucket still is helping fill that bucket. And so how can you contribute, I think, is really important.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. You've been so wonderful to have on today. I feel like we've learned so much, just from, just not just about, your family, but what goes on over at Opportunity Academy and how it's such an integral part of just the Newton School District and how it serves kids in just many multifaceted ways. So thank you again for being just here, for being open and sharing all about that. We're so grateful.
Yes. Thank you guys.
And we want to wish you a very happy school year too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
Always is. Never a dull day.
Yeah, I bet. Well, best of luck to you this school year and to your staff, and especially, of course, to the students.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what a wonderful guest Tyler just was for us.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So smart, so just compassionate. Him and his family, his wife, just all the staff at OA. It was really cool to get to hear more about Opportunity Academy, because I feel like even though it is on the Newton campus, because it has served such a unique role within the Newton School District, that it doesn't get as much, quite literally now, airtime as it should.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool to hear about that.
Absolutely.
And he's so knowledgeable too.
Yeah.
You know,
I loved hearing that little tidbit of his wife on their very first date was just like, this is what I want in life. So it's like a take it or leave it. I'm like, way to be vulnerable, way to really put that out there and
Yes.
stand by it. And now look where they are.
And now they have a shared passion and they get to do it together, and it's so sweet.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, yeah, just big shout out to Tyler and the whole team at Opportunity Academy. Obviously, they're just doing some really, really important work. And again, some work that's sometimes just unsung work, you know. So it was such a treat to have him on today and get to hear all about OA.
Yeah.
And I will, we will put in the link. It is to the USD 373 website, but we will include the link where it does directly talk about Opportunity Academy on the website. So if you guys want to go learn more about that, please be sure to check out the link for Opportunity Academy, and just stay up to date on how you can stay involved year round. Our back to school drive is over now, but a good chunk of those school supplies do stay at OA for those kids.
Yeah, and there's always things to donate to EmberHope throughout the year. We're going to start collecting our angel tree locations before we know it for Christmas. We get through school, and then our next big thing is the holiday season. So it was rapidly upon us.
Yeah, I think angel trees roll out at 1st of October.
Yeah.
So that way the kids everything can be back wrapped, everything by the end of November, and then because our big Christmas event, Hope in a Future, is at the start of December.
Yeah. So if you're a local business or church that's listening that wants to host an angel tree, please reach out to us, emberhope.org, for all that information.
Yeah, and we have our tournament for Hope, our cornhole tournament, and that's going to be at the Derby Sandbox
in September.
So you can find that on our events page, emberhope.org/events.
And it was so much fun last year to just see all these different people throwing beanbags into their cornhole things, and it was a really fun time.
Yeah. So that's another fun community way to be involved. You don't have to be a foster parent. You don't have to buy anything special. You just come, you just pay your entry fee and just come have fun and engage with the community. Yeah. So super, super just easy ways to get involved if you're not sure about how to get started. Cornhole tournament is an angel tree, picking up a kiddo off an angel tree, perfect ways to just get your foot in the door.
Absolutely.
And if you're interested in a career, we're going to start attending some career fair events starting in August. So you can meet the talent recruiters, because we'll be going to all the different surrounding schools as well as any other career fair events. Specifically, we are going to go to the VA career fair. That is going to be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. So if you're there, come check us out. Come have a conversation with us.
Oh, that's great. And again, I know EmberHope is, such a military-friendly place to work. We are a military family. I am a spouse of a military, but still. And then we have quite a few friends who are veterans or still actively serve in the reserves, so who work at EmberHope. So such a great military-friendly work environment as well. So so awesome. Thank you for sharing. And of course, we just want to shout out City Life Church. We are here today, and there was like a thing with the air conditioning, and then they got the air conditioning fired up for us because we're up here on the 5th floor. It was a little warm.
It was so nice to hear that AC kick on. It was getting toasty up here.
Yeah. So the staff here moved mountains to make sure everything was functional and running for us today, and we're so grateful. They've just been really generous hosts over here. Again, next month is our last month to have the podcast, and then we round out season 1, which is crazy. I cannot believe
so wild
that this is our second to last episode. But again, just City Life Church has been a phenomenal partner for us, and the staff here have been so kind and accommodating, even through the renovations and all the things they've got going on.
We're gonna have to come back when all their renovations are done to just see the magnitude of what the building looks like now. They're putting so much work and so much heart into their changes that they're making.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So as always, if anybody is listening and they are church shopping, or they want, to check out a new church, I would highly recommend City Life. It is beautiful down here. So in the heart of downtown Wichita.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, as always, ladies, is a pleasure. I'm so sorry I missed last month, but I really enjoyed listening to Allison. She was phenomenal. You gals did a great job. And then, of course, here in August, we will be recording our episode with Dee Neiswanger, who is our brand new Connections president. So she is sweet as can be, and she has such a layered and strong just work history within child welfare.
What a career path she has led in so many different avenues that she really has a heart for this work.
Yeah.
We are so lucky to have her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's a licensed clinical addictions counselor. She's a therapist. She's got, she worked in mental health. She's worked at DCF. So anyway, we're really excited to have her on next month and hear all about her. So please, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, this is your call to action. Don't
hit
don't
that
miss
button, follow, subscribe, and interact, and please share.
Yeah, please share. So, well, again, thank you, ladies, so much. It has been such a pleasure to have you on. It's been wonderful to have Tyler on, and I can't wait to see what our next episode brings.
Oh, I'm so excited. This podcast has been so much fun. And hopefully when we are able to do season 2, we just continue to grow our listeners and we just continue on with this important work and destigmatizing it all.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
I'm Tyler Swalley, and will you be the one?